Hi, my name is Erica, and this is the first ever episode of the Stitch Your Own Adventure podcast. So in the last, couple of years, got really into all things yarn, knitting, crocheting, etc. And I feel like I just have a lot to talk about and not that many people to talk about it too. So I am hoping that by doing this podcast, I will have the opportunity to make some connections, meet some people who share a love of knitting, crocheting, anything crafty, have a chance to talk about it. And even if, no one watches, then it will still be a good outlet for myself and a good way to log what I've done and see how far I've come in my crafting abilities. So yeah, I've chosen the name Stitch Your Own Adventure because I feel like that's kind of the fun of this craft, is it's like you have all these different building blocks, right, that you get to use, but at the end of the day, every project, everything you make, you have so many choices, like the choice of color, the choice of yarn, the choice of fiber, the choice of your pattern, even what you do in a pattern. Like some patterns come with different options, but so many people get so creative and make modifications. It really is your own adventure with every project, but also just with your own scope of what you end up doing. There's so much to learn, and you have the opportunity to go at your own pace or really push yourself. So I am choosing this as part of my adventure. So hopefully you'll all come along for the ride with me, and I'm excited. So I have not done this before. I'm getting used to talking to myself on camera, so bear with me and we'll see how it goes, but I will try to get into the knitting and crocheting because that's the most fun part, right? So let's see. I'll give you a quick history of my background with these crafts. So I probably learned to knit when I was, maybe 6 initially. I've not been knitting that whole time, I want to say. I'll preface with I'm still a fairly new knitter, but I'm really into it. But yeah, I probably learned to knit when I was 6, just making rectangles pretty much. And they almost always had big holes from things like dropped stitches. I don't have any pictures to show, but yeah, it was always really hard. It always felt really hard when I tried it when I was little. I'd get those big holes. Things didn't turn out how I wanted them to. I remember it was always a battle. Every stitch was a battle. I think my stitches were probably way too tight. And I didn't know anything about gauge, so I'd probably use giant needles on yarn that wasn't appropriate, all sorts of things. But I kind of decided that knitting was not so much for me. I did finger knitting and stuff. There was a big fad in elementary school of finger knitting, and you'd end up with these little tiny scarves that were 8,000 feet long. So I definitely did that a little bit. And then, yeah, I'm not really sure when, but I think sometime in middle school, I picked up knitting again. I had an elective class that was a knitting class, and I sort of got back into it. I still remember it felt really hard. I did successfully make a hat, but I didn't have to do any of those measurements or anything myself. The teacher basically told me how many stitches to do, and I did it, and it worked out. And then I remember when I tried to do another one on my own, it did not work out the same way. So I think that kind of put the nail in the coffin for my knitting at that time. But then I did pick up crocheting at some point, and I think I just made a bunch of those, like, you know what you do, you pick up a new skill and you just make a scarf. So I probably had a bunch of scarves that were like, I don't know, like 5 inches wide, like 4 feet long, that I never wore because they were all like, all right, you know, they were just long rectangles made of like acrylic yarn. Nothing wrong with acrylic yarn, I definitely still use it, but you know, they weren't like very fashionable scarves, let's say. But I did really like crocheting, and it just felt easier, it felt better, it felt more intuitive for me. So yeah, I didn't really do anything with a pattern. I really just like, I could do it. And then at some point, I want to say freshman year of college, I was like, I'm gonna make something practical. I'm going to crochet a blanket, and I did, kind of. I did like most of a blanket, and then I put it down for 3 years, and I didn't pick it up till my senior year of college. But then when I did, it all came in like full force. Like I finished that blanket and I made a ton more, including this one behind me. So like that first year after college, and yeah, I made a bunch of crocheted blankets. I used a lot of patterns from Mikey of the Crochet Crowd. He's got a lot of stuff online, really great tutorials, so highly recommend there if you're trying to learn. But yeah, and then about, I want to say 2 years ago, I was like, I'm gonna try something new. It's not gonna be a blanket. I'm gonna start making some clothes. So I did. Started making some crocheted like tops and sweaters, and then last summer I was like, all right, I really want to make socks, but I don't love the way knit socks, or I don't love the way crochet socks look, so I just got a bee in my bonnet. I was like, I need to learn how to knit so I can make socks. And I discovered the magic of continental knitting, and I don't know what it was, but I just like, when I picked it up and I watched all the tutorials on how to do continental versus English style, it just clicked for me. And I think it's because I was crocheting, and so I was always holding the yarn in my left hand anyway. And so then it felt like a natural transition, I guess, to continue getting to hold my yarn in my left hand, and it just worked. And then I picked up and I started knitting socks, and then I was like, oh, I really like how this looks, and I'm gonna start knitting sweaters, and I've made a couple sweaters now, and yeah, that is how we got to where we are today, where I'm like very much obsessed with both things. So to get started with the actual projects, I can tell you about what I'm wearing today. So it's a little wrinkled, it's been folded up. This is a crocheted top. It's a little bit cropped. You can kind of see it, but it is the pattern, the Clarissa tee by Evelyn and Peter. And I believe I bought this as a kit from Lion Brand, so it like came with all the right amount of yarn, the right yardage, the pattern, and yeah, so this is just a nice t-shirt. It's got this nice sort of boat neck, still got short sleeves, which I like. I'm more of a sleeve person than like a tank top person, but you know, it's nice to have a little bit of everything. But yeah, this is crocheted. I think it's mostly extended single crochet. But yeah, it's a nice simple pattern. It does take a while because it uses pretty fine yarn. But yeah, it's got a nice drape, it's cottony, and it's knit in 2 panels and then just seamed up the sides. I'm not the best at seaming, but this is like it's pretty straight, and it's not like puckering, I guess, too much. Probably room for improvement, but that's what we practice for, right? So yeah, this is the Clarissa tee. I made it in a size small, which I believe is like the 2nd size up. And yeah, I used the Lion Brand Oh Baby organic cotton in the color mauve, and I think it used 6 balls. I don't think it used the full 6. I think I definitely had a little bit left over, but not like a whole a whole ball or anything. That always happens to me, and then I'm like, what am I gonna do with this? So yeah, so this is what I'm wearing. So let's get into my current projects and what I'm working on. And I have kind of a lot. I think it's gonna make it seem like I'm a much faster knitter or crocheter than I am, but like these are just all my current whips. They're not, I didn't like do this all in the last week. This is definitely longer term than that. I think I am dedicated to knitting, so I definitely like do some knitting or crocheting almost every day, but I'm not fast. I can't do it while I'm at work. I work full time. I can't do it. Like, I know some people are really good at like knitting and walking or things like that. I'm not very good at that. So I have limited time and I do with it what I can. So anyway, getting into the projects. I think here, first of all, I'll start with this. Oh, this is a bag. It's just a little project bag. It's really good for socks or smaller projects. It's by 2am Designs. She's on Etsy, and I don't have that many project bags. I think I've got maybe 5, and 4 of them are from 2am Designs. They're like really reasonable prices, but they're really nicely made and inexpensive, which is great, but like, I don't know, I really like them. So this one, it's cute. It feels wintry, but I don't mind. It's summer. I could use a little winter in my life right now. It feels very soft and squishy. It's got like interfacing, I think. Basically, I could never make it myself. I'm not a sewer. But anyway, in here is the first project that I am working on, which is a pair of socks. I already have one complete. They're just basic vanilla socks. So they are, yeah, just knitting in the round, nothing fancy. I do a heel flap and gusset. Hopefully you can see. I followed, for these vanilla socks, you know, it's vanilla, so it's not really like a pattern per se, but I do use all the techniques from the Crazy Sock Lady, her video tutorial on knitting vanilla socks on Magic Loop. So I do her like counting with the light bulb stitch markers to help keep track of where I am and to make it so that my second sock matches. So here is my second one. I think it's coming along pretty nicely. I think I am at the point where all I need to do left is the toe. Sorry, I'll try not to block my face. I know some people, need to see lips for lip reading. So not that I have anyone watching yet, but maybe someday. So I will try to not block my face as much as I can. But yeah, so this is hopefully going to be done today. Hopefully I can show it as a finished object next week, or next time I should say. I don't have a schedule set yet for these. So yeah, this is, this yarn is from Hobby? I'm not really sure how to say it, but it's nice. I think it's just a 75-25 wool nylon fingering weight yarn. This is the Atlas yarn. I think it's, the colorway is Atlas, let's see, I wrote it down, San Remo. I think all of the ones in this line are named after Italian cities. I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, it's really nice. It feels pretty woolly. Like, I recently used the self-striping yarn from Knit Picks, the really popular one, Felici. I recently used Felici, and that is like really soft to the touch. This is definitely woollier, but I like it. It feels like sturdy. It feels like it's gonna last for a long time. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's good. I bought a bunch of these at one point when they were on sale. Not this exact color, like different colors. So yeah, they've been good so far. No issues with wear. And yeah, I'm excited. So almost done. This one's a little lumpy. I don't know if you could tell. It's a little lumpy on the leg. I'm not sure what it was. I got it in my head that this yarn knit up like in a weirdly big gauge, and this sock went fine. But in my head, when I started this one, I was like, man, I think I need to knit a tighter gauge or else it's gonna be way too big. And so I did, and then I got to the end of the leg, right? So I got to before I did the heel, and I tried it on, and I was like, this is so tight. Like, this is not gonna fit. Once the foot is on there, I am not gonna be able to get this over my foot. So I had to undo it, and when I re-knit it, you know, I was using the yarn ramen, all the crimpy, wiggly yarn from where it had held its shape from being knit really tightly before. So now it's kind of lumpy, I guess. It doesn't look very doesn't look as smooth as like down here. But I know it's gonna block out once I either wear it or, you know, when I wash it, it'll block out and it'll look fine. So yeah, that is my current sock project. I think I'm at a point where socks are just like such a nice, easy, kind of like mindless knit. I guess I can't say that for like every step. Like I always have to go back to the tutorial to remember like the first part of the heel turn, like how many stitches, things like that. But I think at this point, it's nice to just always have a sock going to pick up when you're like, my brain can't handle any of this other stuff, or I don't know, it just feels, I think there's something about holding such small needles. It feels like you're going so much faster. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it's because the movement is like so small, but it just feels easy, quick, feels like you can see your progress really well, you know? Oh, these needles are Chowgu red lace. I think they're like the 32-inch, so that I can use them for magic loop, and they are US size 1, 2.25, just like what the Crazy Sock Lady recommends. So she has no idea who I am. She has no idea who I am. I'm just a someone who watches all of her videos, and I definitely have been inspired by her, and she's the one who got me into knitting. So I have a very special place in my heart for her, and she's definitely someone who has majorly inspired me in this craft and also with these videos now. So thank you, Kay, the Crazy Sock Lady. If you ever see this, you're awesome. All right, so next is another whip. This is in another 2 AM design bag. I'll see, I have not ever posted anything on YouTube before, so I will see if I can like put links in the down bar. If they are not there, I am so sorry, and any recommendations for figuring that out, let me know. But yeah, so this is another bag. It's again really soft. It's got that interfacing. It's just cute. This one feels more springy just because of the colors, the like nice minty and the, I don't know, peachy pink. Anyway, this project is a shawl. This is the Reina shawl by, getting situated here, pardon the wait, by Nora Backlund. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, and I am really enjoying it. I have not really done, I guess, okay, that's not true. I have crocheted a shawl, but I haven't knit a shawl before, I don't believe. And I've never done anything with lace, and I think that you could call this lace. If it's just mesh and it's not like considered lace, I don't know, let me know. I'm open to corrections. But yeah, I think it's coming along really nicely. It's getting big. Da, da, da. It's getting pretty big. So yeah, it's got these nice garter sections. So it's got like a garter stripe that stays even throughout, and it's got an increasing mesh section that's just like, you know, knit two togethers and yarn overs. So yeah, it's a free pattern, so I don't mind saying that much about it. I will try to link it in the down bar. Free on Ravelry, Nora Backlund, highly recommend. So yes, so it's coming along very nicely. I am making this using this yarn that I had in my stash. I got it on sale when I was at Michael's. There was a period of time, mostly during the pandemic, where like every time I went grocery shopping, I'd go into Michael's because it was right next door. And their sales just got me every time. And now I have all this yarn that I'm like, I didn't buy this with a purpose, like with a project in mind. I need to use it. So I'm trying to find ways to use this yarn. And I picked up this pattern and I was like, great, I'm gonna knock this particular ball of yarn out. And well, I'll get into this in a moment. Let me tell you what the type of yarn it is first. So this is Red Heart. It's a wrap. This is just their regular. They also have like Red Heart, it's a wrap rainbow, which I think is plied differently, maybe even a different composition. But anyway, this is 50% cotton, 50% acrylic, and it is in the color Western Occidental. So yeah, it's really nice. I think it's really working really nicely for this project. It's got good drape. It just feels very summery, very light. Like I can see myself wearing this like over a romper, over a dress. I could see wearing it like if you're ever, you know, when you have to go to like a wedding or something, and you just know it's gonna get a little cold in the evening, but you don't have any jackets that'll go. This is what I picture this for. Not that I have any weddings I'm going to right away, but yes. But yeah, it's really drapey, really nice. I think for this particular project, it's gonna be a nice summery shawl. But anyway, what I was saying was, yeah, I was like, this project, you know, this is gonna knock out this ball of yarn I've had in stash. I'm really excited, and I am still excited. However, this is the never-ending ball of yarn. I was like, great, it's gonna be 3 colors, you know, it's color changing yarn, it's gonna be beautiful, it's gonna be big, and here I am. I have finished the rows of the pattern. Like the pattern is written for a certain amount, and I actually, because this yarn is so thin, it's super fine, it's like category 1 super fine yarn, and I guess, answer me this, is super fine, is that considered fingering? Is category 2 fingering? I don't know, but the pattern, the Reina shawl, calls for fingering weight. In my head, I thought that's what this was, but whatever, it's turning out nicely, so not mad. But basically, yeah, this ball is never ending. I got to the last repeat of the pattern, and I have not yet reached the second color. I am still on the first color. This is a 1-color shawl as of this point, which is so funny. I'm not mad about it. I think it looks nice. But yeah, I mean, at this rate, I can make 3 shawls out of just this. Kind of crazy, but hey. I mean, that's great value for your money, right? Especially when it's on sale. But even if you're not, I mean, 3 shawls out of one ball of yarn, potentially. That's not bad. So anyway, so I completed all of the recommended repeats. They say in the pattern, the repeats end after this biggest section of mesh, and then you do like a couple rows of garter and bind off. But since I have so much yarn, and since I'm picturing it as something to like go over a dress, not so much as like a shawl to wear, you know, like wrapped in front for warmth, I really want it to be a little bit bigger, I think. So what I am doing is I am just gonna repeat the last 2 sections. I'm not gonna make them any longer. But so I repeated the garter section, and now I'm just going to do this lace section the same size, just one more time, and then I think it will be nice and big and I will be able to bind off. So I'm at the point where this project feels like it's wrapping up, like I'm getting close to the end. However, every row takes like 30 minutes. I mean, seriously, there are just so many stitches on here at this point. They're all on the bottom. That I think I will be lucky if I can do like 2 rows in a day, and I think there's like 16, no, I think there's 32 rows in this last mesh section. So if I can do 2 a day, I don't know. My goal is to be done by the end of August, so we'll see where I am in a month. Check back in then, but that's my goal. I am knitting this on US size 4 needles, 3.5 millimeters. These are my interchangeable set that I have. I believe they are the Knitter's Pride Zings, but now that I'm thinking about it, they're definitely Knitter's Pride. I can't say for certain if they're Zings, but anyway. And then I've got these nice little stitch stoppers, or needle stoppers. They're like foam, and they just slide on, and they feel nice and secure, so I'm not worried that my stitches are gonna go flying off, because honestly, if I lost stitches on this pattern, I don't know if I could get them back. I'm not sure if I'm at that skill level yet. But yeah, these are from Coco Knits. I got them at my local yarn store, Stephen B. in Minneapolis. That's where I live. I didn't say where I live. I live in Minneapolis here with my boyfriend. So yeah. Anyway, highly recommend this product, the Coco Knits stitch stoppers, or needle stoppers. All right, I think that's enough on this project. So these two, the socks and this shawl, are sort of my main things I'm working on, but I do have a few other projects that are technically whips. So I'm gonna put this away later. It's gonna be a learning curve, right? Figuring out, how do you guys juggle this? If you're another podcaster and you watch, what is your strategy for managing all the stuff that you take out? Do you put it away as you go? Do you leave it in a pile on the floor and then like tuck everything in its bags afterwards? I feel like that's something I never notice when I'm watching podcasts. So maybe now that I'm trying it, maybe when I'm watching them, I'll sort of see what they're doing, like with their hands as they're transitioning between projects. Are they putting their stuff away? Are they trying to are they just chucking it to the side? There's probably not a right or wrong answer. Whatever works, right? All right. This is technically a whip. Technically. However, I have finished all of the knitting.